Well, Father Christmas has come early again. How we doing, folks? And my new number plate's turned up, my legal number plate. So this is the one I made, and I think these characters are 70 by 50. I can't remember what size that was. And this is the minimum legal size in the UK. I think it's 64 by 40 or something like that. But it also has to have the identification of the manufacturer for whatever reason. So yeah, I just offered it onto the bike, and what I've done is, obviously we're only supported at the top here, but I've got this foam pad which is on with sticky both sides, and it's slightly taller than these two faces, so when you screw it on it pushes against this foam block, and it does make it rigid. I mean, the other one was quite large and it didn't look very pretty, but it certainly did the job for the couple of runs out we did. But anyway, this one now is the one that's going on. But remember I spoke about the she seemed to just be revving a tad high, which apparently is normal. A friend of mine created a spreadsheet that you just put all the gear ratios in: primary drive, clutch, basket, gearbox output, sprocket and rear wheel sprocket, and you can see exactly what the bike's doing. But also, and obviously I measured the circumference of the rear wheel, and you can play around with different sprocket sizes. So you got a choice of 3 front sprocket sizes with this. The 18, which is standard, then there's a 19 and there's a 20. You can't do anything with the rear sprocket because even though it is a bolt-on sprocket, the sprocket is that small. You could, the bolts that actually hold it bolted onto the brake drum, obviously, they're that small. You can't go any smaller. The only other thing you can do is buy a brake drum with the integral sprocket cast into it. I've had before on the C15, it was exactly the same as that I had before. So I don't really fancy going for that. Anyway, putting the information into the spreadsheet, doing the calculations, and obviously getting some good advice off the internet, off Triumph Rat forum, and particularly Stuart, a guy who's very knowledgeable on the site there. A couple of options was to fit that other QD drum integral sprocket with 43 teeth as opposed to the 46 that's on there. I'll go through for either a 19 or a 20 gearbox output sprocket. If I go for the brake drum, then it's going to take a little bit of the originality away from the bike, and plus I'm not a fan of I know I'll never wear the sprocket out, but if the sprocket does get one, you've got to buy the brake drum as well, and it wasn't cheap. I think about 100 quid, 90 odd quid delivered or something, whereas a sprocket is only 30 quid. The difference in speed is it's either 3 or 5 miles an hour, so it isn't a great deal of difference, but it is going to take the edge off a bit, and a lot of people do change that front sprocket for that reason. So I'm going to go for a 19 output drive sprocket. I know I've got to strip the clutch down yet again, but there we go. So I'm going to open it up ready. I've ordered the sprocket, should be here in a day or two. I'm going to mount my new number plate with the correct screws, etc. See what that looks like, so we can have a look at that when it's fitted. And I'll just open this up ready for the sprocket, I have got a couple of extractors. Definitely got one for a Tiger Cub, definitely got one for a C15 and a B50, which I think the 7/8 by 20 threads to the inch. I'm not sure if this is bigger. Anyway, we'll soon find out. If it is, I'll have to make something. I can obviously cut the threads on the lathe. I'll see if there's any other way of removing the inner clutch hub from the input shaft on the gearbox or the main shaft. So we'll see you in a short while. Okay, well there she is fitted. Looks quite neat on the bike, I think. The pad at the back, foam pad, absorbs the shocks, and also put sticky both sides strips underneath where I mounted it, because the stuff's about 1.5 mil thick foam and it crushes down, and it's given it like a rubber mount effect. So yeah, quite pleased with that. So next job is I'm just gonna again have to strip all this lot off because you can't get at the screws underneath because the exhaust is in the way, obviously the pegs and all. But yeah, I'll just we'll open that up now and make a start. Okay, 2 hours later. Not a 2-minute job. That's inch by 20. I've just measured it, and BSA is 7/8, or the biggest one I've got is 7/8 by 20. I think the Tiger Cub one I've got's a bit smaller still, but I haven't got that internal thread. But there's a lip there, so it could maybe, it's going to grip for sure on that ledge. I mean, I should really, and I probably will make one for sure, because I should really have one in the kit, inch by 20. I mean, they are generally tight on the Beezers anyway, but it's not the force that you apply to the puller that gets it off. It's the shock. You normally have to give it a whack with a copper face once you've got it. Once you've got a bit of load on there. So that's looking promising. Because if it's anything like the Beezer, which I would imagine it is, because it's all Edward Turner's stuff, isn't it? Let's get a spanner for that. Oh, no. Yeah. There's a few. Oh, well, there you go. Can it be done? Yes, it can. Without a special tool. Yeah, perfecto. Lovely. Woodruff key, maybe. Yes. That's a bit slack in there. Anyway, yeah, we're nearly there. I'll just fight with these screws and see if we can get the big nut off. I'll see you in a sec. Okay, we're in, and I've knocked the tabs back. The AF on the nut is exactly the same as the bigger beezers, so this is what I generally use. It's I've milled a couple of flats on there so you can get a spanner on it, because I haven't got a deep socket, otherwise I'd have just used the rattle gun. But, and I see that there's a hole, not a hole, some kind of notch or something in that casing. So let me get a spanner for that thing. So the chain's off. So if I that in there, that brass bar in there, maybe that might do it. But we're away. Not too tight actually. Yeah, been tied up with a chisel like they normally are. Will this come off, or will I need to draw it off? I'll just find whatever threads they are. They look like NF, UNF. Oh, is that going to come? Maybe. Yes. Okay. So, not exactly a 2-minute job. But there you go. So now waiting for the 19 to come, and there is a bit of wear on there actually. This back sprocket looks new, but that got a bit of a lean on. Yeah. So a big clean up, tools away, and wait for the 19 to arrive, and then we can get into it, put it back together. So we'll catch you on the next one.